Really quick, thank you for clicking on. I appreciate you watching the video all the way through, liking, leaving a comment, and subscribing if you want more. Peace. Hello. Look, I could be anywhere. I could be in a jungle or a forest or a third thing that's similar. Maybe a grove of trees, perhaps. Hi, thanks for stopping by to the video. I'm Ash Goofin, and the title is only kind of clickbait. I think you technically have to bring 6 Pokemon to every match in Pokemon Champions, but I personally never use. There's one Pokemon on this team that I did not use, but I used it one time just to see if it would do anything. Spoiler alert, it did not. But aside from that, I went from either Great Ball 1 or Ultra Ball 4 all the way up to Master Ball just using 5 Pokemon. So I had a really good time with the team, and I wanted to make a video talking about it because I'm really bad at remembering and recording my favorite teams in Pokemon. A lot of my favorite teams have been lost to time, so I figured I would start here. And B, maybe you think the team is cool and you want to try it for yourself. So you're more than welcome to. It's a fun time. Anyway, let's get into it. So I was plodding around in Ultra Ball, just goofing around with a bunch of Pokemon that I wanted to use that I haven't gotten to use in a long time. Just playing around with Megas for the first time in a while. Having a blast, man. I think Pokemon Champions is a pretty solid game, all things considered. I looked around and I wanted to see if anybody had a Mega Scrafty team, because just look at this guy. He's so cool, man. Look at him hanging out in his new white jeans. He looks so fashionable, man. Give it up for Mega Scrafty. He's a cool looking guy. Anyway, I pop on over to YouTube, and what do you know? The doctor has a prescription. Go follow PokeAim if you're not already. He's got awesome videos and awesome teams, and you're gonna find very few people as knowledgeable as him making YouTube videos. I mean, I guess it's like him and BKC, and also follow Blunder. Anyway, he was showing off a neat little Trick Room team starring New Jeans here, and I was just like, oh, that's perfect. Trick Room is my favorite playstyle. I'm a big fan of goofy little guys that hit hard, because I'm a goofy little guy, and I don't have a lot of time, so let's go ahead and knock this out quickly, if we can. Basically, any of my hyper-competitive VGC teams have always been Trick Room, so as soon as I saw that the Mega Scrafty team was Trick Room, I was like, alright, pack it up, ship it out, let's get it going. I yoinked the team, and over the course of I don't know how many ever battles, I ended up peaking at about 22, top 2200 on the ladder. Yes, I would have loved for that to be top 20,000. It would have made for a much better YouTube video, or at least would have been a nice even number to put on the thumbnail. But what can you say, man? There's 21,000 people out there that are better than me. So what can you do? They're built different. I'm built like this, so I got nothing for you. But anyway, enough of the slow roll. We're just going to get into the team now. I'm going to start off talking about it, and we'll save the person who didn't contribute for last and talk about maybe why that is and what we could have done instead. Like, who could we have put in that would have actually helped this team, as opposed to just taking spot up that we could have used for literally anything slightly helpful. So, bang! That wasn't a gun, YouTube. That was a go, move, transition, or something. Just go, dude. Stop looking at me. Every good story starts somewhere, and ours is kind of like a TV show in the sense that it starts the same way 99% of the time. Although our theme song is pretty funny because it's kind of balanced halfway between keep this Pokemon alive at all cost and, the opposite. The former is a Rangaroo, that funky monkey with a heart of gold. Just look at him with his goofy fan. In Gen 7, when I was competing, I used Mimikyu as my setter, so despite being a big Trick Room guy, this is my first time using him on the team, and gotta say, much like what he's holding, I'm a huge fan. So obviously his main goal is to set up Trick Room, slow down, flip it, and reverse it. Meow, 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 meow. So we can get our Trick Room going, and I gotta say, he does a really, really good job of doing it reliably. Inner Focus is the ability, now that it's been buffed, means that he's not going to get, well, the intimidated part doesn't matter, but he can't get flinched. That's what's important, and that is so invaluable in the land of Incineroar. Mr. Roar, nice to meet you. Please don't fake me out. You'll regret it, I promise. Inner Focus is the ability, means that we can't get flinched, which doesn't stop people from trying to do it to you all the way up into Master Ball for some reason, but you won't see me complaining. I'll take the free turn literally every single time. And on top of that, Mental Herb just basically guarantees so many free turns. It's honestly absurd. Shaking off the first taunt or encore of the match is, not only does it feel really good, but in best of one ladder, it's essentially a death sentence if you can predict that and take advantage of the turn. Like if you protected last turn and somebody tries to encore into your protect, you can just basically guarantee that whatever you want to do with the Rangaroo on the next turn is just free money, because they're assuming they're going to lock you in, so you can just burn that mental herb and start whipping, dude. It's so nice. And plus, this monkey is chunky. I'm talking tanking a Kowtow from downtown. He's basking in heat waves for a nice bronze coat to start the summer with. My man cools down in a Baskia Legion wave clash. My man cools down in a Baskia Legion wave crash and still makes it home for dinner. Okay? Basically, the only way to stop Trick Room from going up is to double into it, which is what Protect is for. You can just tank that and go through. But if you're sitting there protecting, then who's dealing the damage? Go ahead and play the fan cam. There he is, the legend himself, enters the lobby with a dastardly plan, and I won't sugarcoat it. My man showed up in his finest scarf to hit one button, and he looks damn good doing it too. For those of you that don't know, Final Gambit is a move that does the amount of damage relative to how much health you have in exchange for fainting at the end of the turn. With the Choice Scarf, you outspeed everything in the meta that's not Scarfed, and with their powers combined, yeah, you just have a one button kill shot on everything that isn't a Ghost type or rocking a Focus Sash. And even then, those last guys are going to be hanging on by a thread, right? You know, Zard Y, pop. Whimsicott just explodes. And I mean, there are other moves on Lucario as well, but I'm not even going to talk about them because I haven't had to use them. So like, I don't know. You just hit Final Gambit, man. That's what the guy is for. That's what the point of the guy is. Oh, and it also gets Inner Focus, by the way. So that means that it cannot be faked out either, which is fantastic, obviously. And in doubles, you love an ability that prevents you from getting faked out. I do. I guess I can't speak for you, but a guy like me, we like it. And, you know, basically the only thing that doesn't get at least severely impacted by this Final Gambit play is going to be a Ghost type or a Pokemon that protects. But guess what? If a Pokemon protects, that means it cannot double into a Rangaroo, guaranteeing that we get Trick Room up. You see how it all works together? You see the plan? You see how it all comes together at the end here? Basically, it's hard to get double targeted when Louis came to murder Sui. And not only do you get Trick Room up, but you also get a free switch into your next Pokemon after he faints. Usually that's a huge downside, right? Like, you don't want to just give away one of your Pokemon. But one of the issues with Trick Room is that, or at least like that's why Trick Room doesn't work in singles very well, right? Because you were sort of forced to waste a turn getting somebody in unless the Trick Room setter is what you're trying to sweep with. And if you're setting up Trick Room, then you're going to be missing out on a move slot. This, if when executed properly, basically sets you up with Trick Room and your pick of what to go in next, which is very, very strong if you can pull it off, which I did pretty consistently. So I like this. I like this lead a lot. So we don't really need to cover any of the other moves on Lucario, but you might have noticed that we're missing two moves that we haven't talked about on Oranguru, and I feel like that's because it's better to talk about those within the next session. Jesus. Talk about those in the next section, which I've called Oranguru's our point guard. He facilitates our offense by using the other two moves he has, which are Encore and Instruct. Encore makes you repeat the last move you used, and Instruct makes the target move again. So if you play competitive, you're well aware of how useful Encore is, but for those of you that don't know, if you see somebody do something stupid, make them do it again. Did you protect to stall out Trick Room? Go ahead and keep protecting. I'll focus on the other side of the field, and you keep yourself safe over there, right? Or were you one of those people I was talking about earlier and you didn't know how Inner Focus worked and you tried to fake out my Oranguru on turn 1? Go ahead, try it again. Maybe it'll work next time. Just keep trying. Just keep trying until the morale improves. Encore shenanigans are really brutal to the mental, and you're sort of exempt from them because everything on your team wants to hit the same buttons over and over again except for Oranguru. So go ahead, pop off, King. You really just make your opponent's life miserable. I promise it won't come back to you karmically. You're the better player because you're not using your team isn't bad. Your team is fun. You have fun team. because like we get Trick Room up, and then you are either having to weather the storm or find a switch in, both of which are hard to come by when the speed tiers are funky and you're looking down the barrel of the nuclear weapons we have waiting in the back. So trapping somebody into a move that they thought was be beneficial, it really messes with folks up here. It's hard to, you're like, oh, I know, I'll protect and stall out Trick Room. Now you're looking at either gambling on a 2-turn or 3-turn protect, or switching out when you probably don't have a switch in. So it's just brutal, man. Encore is really good in doubles, especially if you can get it on a Pokemon that moves first, which Oranguru does with Trick Room up. Something to think about. But then we get to Oranguru's very special secret sauce. It's a little move called Instruct. And this is the most broken move in the Trick Room arsenal, if you ask me. Just my opinion. I think Instruct is the most broken Trick Room adjacent move that somebody could possibly come up with. And I'll explain why. Look, I've played a lot of games across a lot of genres, and usually copy abilities are some of the most broken things in the game, because the only thing stronger than using the best move in the game is doing the best move again after you just used the best move. So stuff like Loki's Super in Marvel Rivals, Blueprint or Brainstorm in Balatro, or Balatro, whatever your religion defines, and Instruct in Trick Room. I mean, the easiest way to put it is it invalidates focus sashes, it stacks secondary effects, it converts every 2-hit KO into a 1-hit KO, essentially. It's just a very brutal onslaught to go up against, depending on the weapons that you have paired with it, which I guess is about the time that we talk about them. So, just who is our point guard dishing out to in the wings here? And I guess it just makes sense. We'll start with Scrafty, right? Because we've already ripped that band-aid off. He's here, so we'll just go ahead and talk about Mega Scrafty. And look, are there better, more competitive Megas we could be using? What kind of question is that? Hey, who let this guy in here? Who let this guy in? No, I thought we were only talking to ball knowers today. We already talked about how Scrafty is one of my favorite guys, just in general, so we can go straight into the moveset. Fake Out I use pretty sparingly, all things considered. He's usually switching in once Trick Room is already active, and Oranguru doesn't have an attacking move, so usually Fake Out is just used for situations where I don't have a safe way to set up Trick Room and Lucario's already died. So you really want him next to Oranguru, though, because the moveset can struggle a smidge if you aren't getting to run it with Instruct, if I'm being honest. We've got Knockoff, which is great for the stupid cup. And I hate this thing, by the way. Like, yes, waiter, can I have a spread move that heals and burns and cuddles me after? No, I will knock off your berry and slap you again. Also, the big stupid fish, yeah, it just dies every time to 1 knockoff. So if the other spot didn't protect, then you're going to hit them too, because Instruct doesn't fail if the Pokemon that you're attacking dies. It just goes on to the next, it's on to the next one. Don't sue me, Jay-Z. I have perfect pitch. For the next move, Scrafty's actually pretty bulky in a way that I didn't expect coming into it, but I guess Double Intimidate helps with that a little bit. However, I just have been running Drain Punch, and it's a lot more viable than I thought it would be, actually. It can 2-hit KO Arch through a stamina boost, 1 stamina boost. So, essentially, if you accidentally hit Archaludon coming in, if it doesn't protect and you Drain Punch Instruct into that slot, it will still die, which is huge, because that thing is kind of a problem. It prevents Incineroar from chipping away too much. Like, you're able to stay ahead of Incineroar by healing up using Drain Punch, which is awesome. Essentially, if you can get Scrafty in and going, and there's nothing there that outright just resists Drain Punch, you're kind of just sustaining yourself long enough and forcing them to 2-hit KO you to double target you, which can enable a lot of different things, which is really, really nice. It just makes Scrafty a lot harder to take off the field. And then there's the last move, and I need you to know you did this. It is your fault, right? And who is you? Who's the you that I'm talking to? Are you one of the soulless gears churning away in the Zord Y propaganda machine? Maybe you're the one running that yawn-inducing, boring standard rain with Archaludon and Pelipper. Well, it turns out that Both of those flyers are weak to a similar type of move, so allow me to present the ugliest, dirtiest tactic we employ over here at Goofin Enterprises. Rock Slide. You remember earlier when I said that Instruct gives you 2 chances at secondary effects? Rock Slide effectively has a 51% chance to flinch after Instruct. And I would like to remind you that you did this for running the same boring teams. I would not have put Rock Slide on this Pokemon. It is your fault that I need to kill Chud Y, and Pel. Put the L in Pelipper. Fuck that guy. I'm just kidding. I like Pelipper a lot, but I'm so bored of playing the same snoozy teams over and over again. Especially because you guys don't win with them. That's the crazy part. If you won with the team, it would be different. But Jesus Christ, man. I hit Rock Slide when I have to, and I wish that I didn't. But I'm an honest man in the sense that I will admit it feels really good to get double flinches. I'm not an honest man in the sense that I will prevent myself from hitting it. I will hit Rock Slide if I have to. Don't make me have to. Play fun teams. Only you can prevent meta stagnation. Play off meta teams. It's more fun anyway. But look, to be honest, despite this being a scrappy team and what the thumbnail might say, unless I've changed it, Scrafty's not really the MVP of this team. Our last member, or I should say the last guy we actually use, is basically one that I've grown really attached to, and is what I would consider the real meat and potatoes of the team here. This is the guy that's getting most of our sweeps in, right? And we'll pause at a question.
Oh, it's almost that time. It's almost back hot outside. What we gonna recreate, huh?
Frankie T, the Torkoal, is my goat for like a million reasons. Sun Boosted Charcoal Eruption is a meme calc. It's which is short for calculator, by the way. It kills basically everything. Like a full strength Charcoal Eruption in the sun is already an absurd calc. Doing it twice in one turn is actually evil. It's crazy. I think the only thing in this meta that does not get 2-hit KO'd reliably is probably just Milotic. Like, you can even, like, depending on the Incineroar build, you can tag an Incineroar on the switch in, and then it's just done for. Or if you KO the opposing spot, it becomes a single target eruption against Incineroar, and that can close out a kill. Basically just Milotic, and I think, like, Rotom Wash, but I've seen that guy, like, twice ever, so basically no counters. Oh yeah, and even with that being said, like, even though Milotic is a switch in, like, or is a counter, if you switch Milotic in and it takes 2 eruptions, I don't have the calc in front of me right now, but you can end the game pretty quick, because if these Milotic teams, basically Milotic is the only thing stopping Torkoal. So if you can get it in a position where it's switching into an eruption, it's not long for this world. You're gonna have some roasted snake. So it's like, Milotic's a snake, right? Whatever. It's not a. I was going to say ornithology video, but I'm for sure that it's not a bird. Just go back to the script, little bro. You're crazy. It's just the strongest attack I've ever been able to consistently spam in my Pokemon career. It's like a wrecking ball of a move. It's ludicrous, dude. It's such a fun button to press. The only priority that I've seen that can really threaten to take Eruption's power down a significant chunk is going to be Sucker Punch from Kingambit. But, like, even after taking a Sucker Punch, Kingambit still gets OHKO'd by Eruption, and if it's Sash, then you're breaking the Sash with the Instruct on the next turn. So it's just kind of like sacrificing itself to prevent you from getting more Eruptions off, which doesn't really do much because of the other moves we'll talk about in a second. Right now we're talking about priority stuff, and excuse me. Basically, the only other one I can think of is Aqua Jet on Basque, I think, and even that in the sun is doing pathetic damage. It is not stopping the eruption by any definition, dude. It just is not enough. Yeah, but basically the most reliable way to stop eruption from doing a shit ton of damage is to sacrifice your Kingambit and get the rain up, which is not a super great trade, all things considered, but it's one I'm pretty comfortable with because I don't have to make it. Let's see, we also have Earth Power to help circumvent Wide Guard and take out stuff like Arch when the rain is up, because Arch Eladon will fall over to an instructed eruption, but not when the rain is up. So Earth Power is really good for that, and for circumventing Wide Guard as well, although, you know, that's the only single target move we have on this set, so if it's still 1v1 versus Pelipper, it's a bit of a tough draw. Heat Wave is a great option for big fire damage once you've taken enough HP off to, like, basically a lot of these games start off with getting a big eruption off, and then if something can survive, taking you down a little bit and then switching over to Heat Wave to clean up. Or, you know, in the event that, like, things have really gone south and you're sitting outside of Trick Room at full health, they'll probably expect you to hit eruption, so you can just pop them with the Heat Wave in return and not have to worry about losing that health. It's just a nice option to have. Protect is pretty essential on a lot of doubles teams. I really don't like to use it for Trick Room stuff, but I will say it's pretty good for baiting attacks into it. A lot of people know that Torkoal needs its HP in order to flourish. So, in a scenario where we attack with Lucario and it doesn't kill something, or they protect and then they have a Garchomp out or something. There are situations where Lucario dies and Oranguru protects and is just sitting there by himself. Torkoal coming out, they're going to expect Torkoal to try and do something. Just protect with Torkoal, and you can probably get Trick Room up with Oranguru. It's a nice little option. But all that considered, you're basically 99% of the time just going to be erupting until the room stinks. So that's basically what he does on the team. He explodes and does metric tons of damage. I'm a big fan of Frankie T. And to be honest, those four are basically the ones I brought to 99% of games this season. So if you wanted the TLDR on how I got to Master Ball, there you go. It's those four. They pretty much carried us the entire way there. But we did have one other mode that the team used seldomly, and I'll talk about that here now before we go into the Pokemon that we basically never use. This team also has a Focus Sash, Chlorophyll, Vileplume. It's rocking Leaf Storm, Protect, Sludge Bomb, and one tiny little move known as After You. It's a little bit more of a niche move for people that don't play a lot of competitive, so we'll talk about After You very quickly. So After You basically says you point at a Pokemon, you use After You, and whenever it's your turn in the battle to go, you look over at the Pokemon that you targeted and you say, After You, and then they go next, regardless of the speed tiers. So Torkoal, who is notoriously very not fast, is able to leech off of the speed that Vileplume has, because Chlorophyll, for those of you that don't know, will double your speed in the sun. Torkoal sets up the sun automatically when he's out, so leading these two allows us to get off a very speedy eruption right off the bat, right just from the beginning turn one. It puts a lot of these teams that don't have weather control in a really, really dicey spot, because if you don't have anything that you can switch in immediately to change the weather, then you kind of just have to eat an eruption to the face. And then if you can manage to take care of those two, we've just got Scrafty and Oranguru waiting in the wings to fake out and set up Trick Room and get the ball rolling there. So it's a bit of, if you don't have weather control, it's a pretty tough thing to go up against. And you might think like, oh, this is actually one of my preferred modes for dealing with Milotic, because you can just Leaf Storm it with the Vileplume, and you don't really care if the Vileplume dies, because after you do that Leaf Storm, you just Leaf Storm the Milotic, Protect with Torkoal, and then start firing off After You eruptions, and you're good to go. It's just it's a nice little mode, just not nearly as useful because everybody brings weather control basically to every match. If you played the regulation, you're well aware, right? Okay, so before I reveal who the useless 6th Mon was, I'd like to talk about the kind of things that counter this team, or that was my plan at least. In reality, I think basically the only thing that consistently gave me problems was Milotic. Everything else I was kind of able to manage with the core 4, provided I made the right decisions on each turn. So if I could change one thing, it would probably be to replace the last Mon that we're about to talk about with something that can handle Milotic. It would be nice if it was another Mega option, but it was sort of back of mind. It was one of those things that I always wanted to try, and then anytime I started to look, I just wasn't really sure if I could find something that slotted into the team very well. Because I basically always bring Torkoal, but something that matches into Milotic better could have been a really nice deterrent for it always coming, because I never faced a team with Milotic where Milotic did not come. Well, and I think also, like, one of the biggest problems with bringing Scrafty in those matches is that it triggers competitive with Intimidate, and it intimidates twice, which can be a little bit scary if they call Protect turns right and we're not able to get rid of it with our Scrafty before we get the Torkoal on the field. Yeah, that was something I didn't really talk about earlier, but I think it's because it wasn't as big of a deal as I thought it would be. I thought that having double Intimidate would be detrimental with all of the Defiant and whatever basically all these mons with these crazy abilities running around that feast on double Intimidate. But in reality, we just didn't really run into, which just wasn't really much of a problem throughout the season. I think every Megastar Raptor player just shares one single brain cell, and as soon as Megastar Raptor gets final gambit, gets hit with the final gambit on turn 1 and it dies, I don't think I've ever seen one try to play it out. They just forfeit and move on to the next one. So if you're a Megastar Raptor player, I guess you can say whatever you want. Get somebody to help you type on the keyboard. I don't know. If you're mad about that, don't mega and forfeit turn 1. Like, just play the game out, man. I don't know what to tell you. And, you know, now that I think about it, I actually don't know if... And I can't look it up, unfortunately. I don't have any time to look it up before I wrote the script, edited the video, or shot the video, edited the video, and then uploaded it. So we'll just have to assume. But provided it fits into a decent speed tier, I think actually something like Mega Heracross would work really well on this team. I don't know how slow it can get with minus speed nature and whack investment and whatever, but when I think about it, it's got Bullet Seed for Milo, Rock Blast for all of you unadventurous folk out there, CC for Arch, Gambit, and that sort of thing. I probably need Protect, but I'm a little worried about the stupid Cup with that moveset, so you could just go Pen Missile and play it a little bit riskier. That's up to you. I don't know. I'm not a team builder traditionally. That's why I pulled the team from Jokey Pokey Aim. Jokey Pokey, fuck, dude, Joey Pokey Aim. That's why I pulled it from him. I'm not much of a team builder, but I think something like that would slot in pretty well, just off the top of my head. Yeah, you probably would want Pen Missile too for stuff like for Rigoraph. Anyway, that's not for me to know, not for me to care, not for me to find out. The regulation's over, so whatever. So who was our last then that didn't really help us out in any situations that we found? Why, it's Gholdengo, of course. I think this team was made earlier in the meta, so like basically like within the first couple of days of the meta, from what I remember. I think that the Gholdengo Glowdown had not been fully realized at this point, and it's an easy Gloomon just to throw in on a lot of teams. I'm sure there was a reason for it in the build in the video, so maybe you can go and look and be like, oh, Ash is actually stupid. He doesn't understand the basic concepts. But from where I was sitting, as somebody who used this team for a full month, I feel like I've never played a team that has such anti-synergy with a Pokemon. Maybe I'm just playing it wrong, but he felt genuinely horribly fit on this team. You know that ability that everybody hates, Good as Gold? Yeah, that prevents Instruct from working. You know, the core mechanic that this game is entirely built around. It's also a fast Pokemon for this Trick Room team, and the Vileplume Fast mode is just works way better than anything else Gholdengo could have offered up. And like, think about everything in this meta, and it just kind of dies. Like, it doesn't want to go up against Zardwai. It can't really do anything to Archaludon. I mean, dude, even the errant Titars and stuff that I see around, basically everything in this meta absolutely feast on Gholdengo, and it doesn't really do much in return, especially because it can't be instructed to double up on the damage like the team is built around. Whoop. Right? Sorry. Lost focus there for a second. Got to get back to it. I don't know, just every time I thought about bringing him or whatever, I would just look and like over the course of the regulation, I was just kind of like, brother, why are you here? What is your purpose? You know? I think if this team had been delayed by a week or two into the meta, I don't think that this guy would have been here. It probably would have been somebody else. Again, I'm not a team builder, so I don't know. I don't know, man. I'm not the chef. I just ordered the meal. And I can say that one bad apple did not ruin the bunch. Despite the fact that Gold did basically nothing for this team, that did not stop me from having a lot of fun with it and from running it very successfully. I mean, that's a pretty decent ladder peak for my first real go at Master Ball, all things considered. I don't know. I think the decisions this team forces you to make are interesting, both in terms of its Trick Room and its Sun mode. I love Scrafty, so being able to use his new Mega Form on a team to a level of success is something that I'm pretty stoked about. I'm pretty happy with. Between Instruct and Encore, basically I just really enjoyed piloting this team. I thought it was a lot of fun, and it contains strong Pokemon that are seen in the meta without being a strictly meta team. And I say that just because I think Torkoal is the only meta Pokemon on the team, but it's hard for me to say I don't understand that after blowing people's backs out all regulation. That thing hits like a truck, man. It's crazy. So as this regulation ended, I just wanted to record this video as a nice little hearty 07 to the team because I had such a blast using it, man. It was such a really fun time. Like I've spent the other regulations just piddling around and not really trying for Master Ball, just exploring different team comps and trying to ease my way back into VGC by playing with some Pokemon that I missed using and whatever. I don't know. I did not. I guess I was hopeful, but didn't expect for this to be my first Master Ball team. But I'm very glad that it was. It's a very fun team to pilot. And I guess I'm just excited to see what the next regulation will bring, because I really am looking forward to... Oh, the new regulation is just the exact same Pokemon with a few... Okay. Cool. See you on the ladder. Thanks. Hi, thanks for clicking on the video. I would really appreciate it if you would like and subscribe, because it would mean a lot. Specifically, the subscriptions, we're pretty close to getting monetized. We've had a pretty good year in terms of like watch rate and stuff like that, but we're missing out on subscribers, and it would be really cool to get paid to do this. Also, liking the video lets me know that you liked the video. A guy like me, I have a lot of interests. There's a lot of things that I'm interested in terms of gaming and hanging out. So if this gets a lot of traction, then I'm much more inclined to continue making content like this. I have a very long... I got into competitive battling in 2016 and I've made basically zero content for it. So I have a decade of experience in playing the game. Am I good? No. Am I knowledgeable? Enough. Am I funny? I sure hope so, because I can't see any other reason why you would watch through the end of this, because if you wanted the team and somebody to tell you how to use it, you just clicked on the video in the description where Joey talked about it, because he's a lot smarter than me. But is he funnier? That's for you to decide. Let me know in the comments downstairs, and have a good day. Don't smoke cigarettes. Peace.